हरे कृष्ण। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion on Srila Prabhupada's purport. We are doing last section of fifth chapter. So here we were discussing how Narbuni is trying to explain Vyas Maharshi with his own personal story. So that was he wanted to teach him. So he is giving his own personal example how he became a devotee and how this was very nicely applicable to him. Whatever the instructions he gave, he wanted to give an example, but instead of giving some other example, he gave his own life story. So we'll try to understand what Nardamuni did and then how it is applicable to the principles of fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So we'll just read the translations which I have done as a revision. So from yeah, he says, "O Muni, in my past life, in the last millennium, I was born as a son of a certain maid servant, engaged in service of Brahmanas who are following the principles of Vedanta. And they were living together during the 4 months of rainy season. I was engaged in their personal service. Although they were impartial by nature, those followers of the Vedanta blessed me with their causeless mercy. As far as I was concerned, I was self-controlled and had no attachment for sports, even though I was a boy. In addition, I was not naughty and I did not speak more than required." So these are the four qualities of Nardamuni, which he is qualified to uh, get more and more association or a proper association. Then he says, "Only once, by their permission, I took the remnants of their food, and by so doing, all my sins were at once eradicated. Thus, being engaged, I became purified in heart, and at that time, the very nature of my transcendentalist, by the very nature of the transcendentalist, became attractive to me." So then he got attracted to the Bhaktivedantas because of his wonderful qualities. And he says, "O Vyasa, in that association and by the mercy of those great Vedantis, I could hear them describe the attractive activities of Lord Krishna, and thus listening attentively, my taste for hearing of the personality of God it increased at every step." So he developed, first he got attracted to them, then he developed a taste for hearing Krishna Katha. He got at the level of Asakti Ruchi. "O great sage, as soon as I got taste for the personality of God, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as the taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I have accepted gross and subtle coverings. Both the Lord and I are transcendental." So he could get very self-realized. He could understand that he is not the body and spirit soul. So at the level of Ruchi, Asakti, and person will able to easily understand that he is different from his body. And then we saw, thus during two seasons, the rainy season and autumn, I had the opportunity to hear these great soul sages constantly chant the unadulterated glories of Lord Hari. As the flow of my devotion service began, the covering of my modes of passion and ignorance vanquished. So how he got free from Tata Rajas Tamo Bhava Kama Lobhada, chete eter anavritam sitam satve prasidati. So this is what is happening. So all the shlokas from second chapter, the progress that Narada Muni is showing from his life, how he went through the process. I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. This is how this is the first qualification for a disciple. He should have attachment to spiritual master. That will help them to progress more and more in the path of bhakti. This is a key to success. Even though sometimes it may be sentimental, but it also helps in little level. And then he says that as they were living, those Bhaktivedantas who were very kind to poor hearted souls instructed me in that most confidential subject, which is instructed by the personality of Godhead himself. So this knowledge is coming from the Supreme Lord direct. This we have discussed. And by that confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Sri Krishna, the creator, maintainer, and inheritor of everything, by knowing that one can return to him and personally meet him. So this is also very important. What is how a Uttamadhikari able to see everything in relation to Lord, and what is Madhyamadhikari, and what is how we distinguish Kanishtadhikari. Kanishtadhikari is fearful. Madhyamadhikari is good in, is he can also see everything in everything, how everything is related to Lord, and he is able to establish relationship with all sorts of people properly. Even other religious people also is able to establish relation. He can understand their position, and with the relationship he will not have much problem. Madhyamadhikari. Kanishtadhikari has problem with relation. That's why there is fighting all the time. With Kanishtadhikari level, there is always quarrel because he is not able to properly establish that relationship. Also, he is fearful of this material world. Madhyamadhikari is not so much because he could see Lord. And Uttamadhikari sees everybody is a devotee because he sees everything in relation to the Lord. For him, it becomes for them. That's why they are not able to preach. Uttadhikari, only Madhyamadhikari can preach because he sees everything is very nice. Vishwam Purna Sukha. Then Narada Muni continues, O Brahmana Vyasya, it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So this is the conclusion. So he said, I got instructed by them, and I was thus continuing my service to the Lord. And O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically can cure a disease which was cured by that which very same thing? He says that whatever the, so this example he gives next look also. He says that as when all man's activities are dedicated to the service of Lord, those very activity which causes perpetual bondage become the destroyer of the tree of the work. So he says the work is the cause of our entanglement. So the same work we can come out of our entanglement also. This is the point. So curd, milk is sometimes causing some diseases. So you can take curd and you can cure the disease. So it is the same milk only, but if it is formed into curd and given, it becomes a solution. So similarly, our work is the cause of our bondage, but with the same help of work, we can come out of that bondage also. It's a very important point here. So how it is possible that the same work can be free, and that is at the beginning what Krishna is also explaining this. Where the change comes is with the attitude. So I'll just tell one story. We don't have much time, but I'll just tell this one story. Once, the two stories. Why we are not able to understand Bhagavad Gita completely is first reason is because of our attachments. Second is because of our desires. So it forms a screen. Actually, not only Bhagavad Gita, any spiritual knowledge, they are actually forming a screen in front of us. And then whatever knowledge comes, it reflects. It cannot completely penetrate into the heart. That is the problem. Now here, of course, when Rasdev asks further, he want to know more life of Narada Muni, then he explains how Narada Muni was not having their attachments and their desires. That's why he was able to attain that level of realization very fast. Like I'm walking, if my legs are tied with the stones of 30-40 kgs, I'll not be able to walk. And what is the question of running? But if we don't have such entanglements to our feet, then it is very easy. Similarly, our attachments are like such big rocks that are tied to our feet. And so many attachments are there, which is not allowing us first to understand only the subject very clearly. Now, if you see Arjuna's case, Bhishma Drona Pramukta, when Arjuna was kept in front of Bhishma Drona, immediately he could not do anything. Why? Krishna showed his attachment. See, this is your professional attachment, this is your family attachment. We're attached to our professions, post, position, name, fame, and all this reputation. And then there is family attachments. So Bhishma was family attachment, Dronacharya is professional attachments. Because of these attachments, are not able to perform. Either people remain sentimental or fanatics. So these are problems. That's the reason Krishna, no, you have to understand the philosophy properly and act properly. That is the point. Now, what happens is the attachments and also desires. So these are causing us so much the problem in our life. We're not able to understand. We think, yeah, it's fine, it's good, okay, they're good. How? If, without that, we can live in a more better way. And this is one part of the problem. That why we don't get it, it's get reflected. The attachment. What is that reflection? Because I justify the way I am using philosophy. That is the point. For Arjuna, if you see second chapter is complete, whole Bhagavad Gita is there in second chapter in one way. That's why Prabhupada writes Gita summarized. Arjuna did not understand. Even the teacher is Krishna will not be able to understand because of attachment. So Arjuna also did not understand. Even the teacher is Krishna himself, Arjuna could understand. Why? Because of attachment. So same thing with us also. We'll miss because we still have attachment and we justify whatever position we are. We say, yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm fine. So then it becomes difficult. And here, this is what is the point. Another important is about the work. How work cause bondage is because of the doership mentality. If I think I am the doer, then only it causes bondage. Otherwise, no bondage. If we don't have false ego, we can do anything and we can get out of it without getting entangled. Entanglement is only when I think I am the doer. Otherwise, there is no entanglement, no punishment. One king, he was so very paka in his all activities, and he was doing day and night, and he was collecting taxes, trying to do some welfare. But there was financial problem. He used to collect more taxes, more he collected taxes, more in need of money, and he was trying to solve so many issues in the country. And he was so much tense that he didn't have time to spend with his child. He has a small child, and he could not see the face of his wife also for days together. So he was completely frustrated. He said, "How can I manage this kingdom like this?" So he goes to his guru. He was a Vedic king, very sincere. He goes, who is staying in some forest. He goes to guru and says, "No, I'm done with it. I cannot handle anymore. So much pressure, tension, and I don't know what to do with all these things." Then he says, then the says, "Okay, give up your kingdom." He says, "Give up, but whom should I give?" Because there should be some qualified person. Otherwise, king also thought, yeah, maybe that is correct. But he said, who is a qualified person whom I can give the kingdom so that he will be able to manage it properly? Then he says, give it to your son. He says, my son is only 8 years old. He's so small. I cannot handle it. Then anybody qualified, then Guru says, okay, give it to me. And king was very happy. He said, yes, Guru, I can trust. He will do it, everything. So they said, okay, then you bring some water and you offer. Then he put some water, and then because when you take water and when you offer, it carries that potency. Water, anything. This is also a proper science. Offer with water means it has that vibrations, and immediately that Om is chanted. Now the king gave. Then he said, "Okay, now because I am busy, I am in this forest only. I cannot go anywhere. You appoint somebody on my behalf." The king said, "Arey, whom can I appoint? He should be qualified." Then, yeah, no problem. You try. We'll pay for it. Then king said, "Who will be qualified?" Then the sage asked, "You think you will be okay for it? You want to try it?" He said, "Yes." then then the guru said, "Okay, I'll appoint you, and you take some salary, but don't take more. Whatever is needed, that much only you take. Then you go." So king was very happy. He went back, and after a few months, Guru comes to meet the king, and he was very nicely received because he is a king. First time he's coming, he was nicely honored. Then the Guru asked, "So how is life going on? And any of your work reduced?" He said, "No, work increased, but my tension reduced." Because the doership mentality is gone. Uh, I think it's mine, I should do it. No, it's my guru's. I will do on behalf of my guru, and it will all be fine. This is the point. And another is, so the same work can, basically a point here is attitude changes. When there is a different attitude, then then the same work make us free also. It will not cause any more bondage. This is the point. So that's what uh, now Narad Muni is telling Naishkaryam Apachyuta Bhavarjitam Nashobate Jnanamalam Vim. He says the two things. He says Achyuta Bhavarjitam. He says Naishkaryam karma is not wrong if it is having Krishna devotion superior to it. And jnana also, if there is bhakti, then jnana is also not wrong. But bhakti should be, so the jnana and karma should be subordinate to bhakti. Then they are not wrong. That's what this shloka is telling. It's not that what should be given up. Here also, what Narad Muni is telling, Vyasdev is saying that I have given this path of karma to people so that they'll slowly, gradually progress, because not everybody is qualified for it. Narad is telling, anyway, they have tendency to work. Why don't you engage that work in Krishna's service? So I have desire to work. Let me work for Krishna. So in that way, you directly get purified. The same work will be cause of freedom. So that is his point. So whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of mission of Lord is called Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord. And what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. Yes. Yes.
Prabhuji, so like we are understanding Nishkam Karma Yoga. So, for example, okay, things like cooking and things like chanting, things like reading, these all are a direct activities that we are doing it for our own benefit also, and thinking that yes, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and he is to be enjoyed. But then daily course, like small activities, like for example, I'm just doing something for the necessity of life. Then how to dovetail those activities for Krishna's pleasure or to satisfy his senses? There little I always fail, Prabhuji, that many activities I do that I'm thinking always confused that I'm doing it for myself or for Krishna, and how is it connected to Krishna, Prabhuji?
Here the principle is, Mataji, first is the main mistake that happens is doership mentality. That's what Krishna is trying to explain. That we are not actually, the soul is only conscious. It supplies consciousness to the soul, sorry, to the body. Soul only supplies, and body is functioning, and we have five factors that any activity is happening. There are five factors. So
Yeah.
the first point here is that soul is only supplying consciousness to this body to act, and material nature and all the, first we have the place, then we have the senses, then we have doership mentality, then we have desire, then we have Lord, who is the sanctioner. So this is the first understanding. And another important factor is when Krishna is telling yajnartha karmano anyatra lokoyam karmagana, is telling every activity should be done in the form of a sacrifice.
Okay.
Otherwise, work causes bondage. Now, for us, if we have this mentality that I am servant of Krishna, any activity we are doing will not have any bondage. Now, we may forget, Prabhuji, I may not remember. But one more important, what he is telling that sarvam yajna pratishtita. Lord is telling that I am always situated in the work of sacrifice. We can see Lord everywhere. People say Lord is everywhere. No, Lord is everywhere means every time there is a sacrifice, Lord is there. Now, how to make our work a sacrifice? This is a very important understanding that my life should be only for others. This is the first premises. This is very
Mm.
difficult. I
Yeah.
should not live for myself. I should live for somebody else. Then only it is sacrifice. I should
Mm.
live for somebody else. So I live for Guru's mission. So if I have this, then anything I do, it will not be a problem only, because I am not living for myself, and then only we will be completely happy also. Like even materially also this formula works, not only spiritually. When somebody is doing materially also, he'll be happy. Like people who fight for country, they're sacrificing their life. Not that they are not experiencing pleasure, they get very high pleasure. That's why they are able to do it. Why? Because they are doing for somebody else. They are doing for the nation. They are sacrificing. Sacrifice gives them, they don't want anything, my country should be free, that's all. So selfless, they experience some pleasure. And even not only that, that's why we see that people say, I will, they sacrifice their life, family, and friendship, and all other properties, fight for the nation. Like in Second World War in Russia, they used to tell, okay, you are fighting in the war, if you are unhappy, disturbed, you think of Stalin, and then you will, all your grief will go away and you will fight. And really it worked. People used to think about him, you know, he's a tyrant. But they used to fight for him. They say, okay, chant his name and you fight and you sacrifice your life. And it works. Why it works? Because we are all like that only. We are all, our swabhava dharma is to work for somebody. So swabhava is to work for somebody. So we start working, we'll become free. We will be able to get out of all this karmic bondage. When we understand this principle, so any activity we are doing, we have this purpose. Okay, for whom we are doing? It's not that I should get satisfaction of my mind, I should get satisfaction of my senses, I should satisfy my ego. These three things are removed, then whole day we are in working for others and we are very happy. This is how it is. So all the time, satisfaction of senses, because tongue and eyes and all, mind should have some emotions, and ego, my name, fame. These three things are kept aside. Whole day is a sacrifice, and whole day we are blissful. This is actually the principle. Now, any activity we are doing, we have to see what is the motivation behind, and slowly, slowly we can reduce that.
Ah, yes, yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very clear, very, very clear. Thank you so much for that.
I will elaborate on this maybe tomorrow or after tomorrow. I will just give some more important understandings in this direction. Uh, I want to complete purpose today. So this is an important topic about work. I don't want to just come cut here, but I will definitely give more understanding on it, because this is a point of discussion also. We will just read this purport one more time and then go, because this is Prabhupada also is going to give some nice points in this. The general and popular notion is that by discharging fruitive work in terms of the direction of the scriptures, one becomes perfectly able to acquire transcendental knowledge for spiritual realization. Bhakti Yoga is considered by some to be another form of karma. But factually, Bhakti Yoga is above karma and jnana. Bhakti Yoga is independent of jnana and karma. Or on the other hand, jnana and karma are dependent on bhakti. Why? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling 2.61. This is one of the important shlokas of second chapter, where Krishna is trying to tell that without 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 bhakti, you cannot make any difference. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha. So this word matpara is what is the most important part of the shloka, and whole chapter this is the most important shloka in one way, because Krishna is telling only way vashehi sindriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. You'll be able to control your mind and senses only because of matpara. So why it is important? Because Krishna is telling so much theory. What is the Sthita Prajna? What are his internal qualities? What is his language? How does he sit? How does he walk? And he is telling so many other things. But to acquire all these things, this is the only way, Matparaha. By me, without having bhakti, jnana and karma will not lead any results, will not be successful. So same thing here also. What they are not independent. They are dependent on bhakti. That matpara is very important. Clear? This Kriya Yoga or Karma Yoga, as recommended by Sri Narada to Vyasa, is specifically recommended because the principle is to satisfy the Lord. No? Bhuktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka. Bhuktaram, Lord is, and Yajnata Karmano Anyatra Lokam. Yajna must be for Vishnu. So he should be satisfied. The Lord does not want his sons and living beings to suffer the threefold miseries of life. He desires that all of them come to him and live with him. By going back to Godhead means that one must purify himself from material infection. When work is performed, therefore, to satisfy the Lord, the performer becomes gradually purified from material affection. This purification means attainment of spiritual knowledge. Therefore, knowledge is dependent on karma or work done on behalf of Lord. Other knowledge, being devoid of bhakti yoga or satisfaction of the Lord, cannot lead one back to the kingdom of God, which means that it cannot even offer salvation, as already explained in connection with the stanza Naishkarmya Puchchata Bhavavarjitam. So the conclusion is that a devotee engaged in unalloyed service of the Lord, specifically in hearing and chanting of his transcendental glories, becomes simultaneously spiritually enlightened by the divine grace as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada also. Now here another point is, if I don't have this ego, there is no problem. This is ego is the problem. Any activity we do, we immediately feel that I am the doer. The doership mentality is the cause of bondage. There's no bondage. Like there was a man who knows this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, that we are not the doers. But he had a very beautiful garden. He brought some rare plants here, there, and he grew some nice flowers. So attached to it. One day, what happened? One cow comes into the garden and start eating his favorite flowers and plants and all. He becomes so angry. He takes a stone to get rid of the cow. He throws the stone, and unfortunately, it hits the eye of the cow and it dies. He became very scared. I said, "Oh, after." Then he did some prayaschitta here there, but it won't work like that. So when he died, Yamadutas come. He says, "You killed a cow. Chalo, to the hell." He said, "No. How? I did not do it. I am spirit soul. I am aloof from all these things. It was done by my hand. My hand threw it, not me. Soul is aloof. Soul cannot do anything." Then they go to Yamadutas go to Emra and says, "This fellow, we know all philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. And how come? What should we do?" Emra says, "Don't worry. I will show you how he does not know." He goes to this person as a Brahmana, and Emra starts glorifying. "Wow, you have such a beautiful garden. This flower is not." He says, "Yes, yes. I only brought it from this place and I planted it." oh, these trees are so nice, they give nice fragrance. He says, I only planted it, I only did this. And he was praising all the flowers, and this person was telling, yes, I did this, I brought it from there, I did. Then Yamaraj in the form of Brahmanas, then who killed the cow? So what happened is, now he identified, his attachment was there, he identified with his work, then he has to take punishment for this also. That is the point. We cannot, the identification is a problem. We identify with our things we have done. That is the reason why people say, if you acquire more and more and more ego will increase, more attachment will increase. Get out of it becomes more difficult. Why saintly people want to keep less and less? Because it will safer not to get attached. Of course, like King Pratap Rudra, Ambarish Maharaj, somebody, Parikshit Maharaj, they had that consciousness from the beginning. Nothing belongs to me. But actually very difficult. As soon as we get little more possessions, our mind immediately gets bewildered. That's why Janmaishwara Shuddha Srivid, Yedamana. Pride comes very fast, attachments and so many things. So this is very difficult. So we will do while performing duties according to the order of Sri Krishna. So for us, order of Krishna is our motivation to work. The Supreme Personality of God, one constantly remember him, his names and his qualities. This is how Bhakti Yoga should be done. Let us all chant the glories of Vasudev along with this plenary portion, Pradyumna Anuruddha Sankarshana. So this is the mantra of Narada Muni. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Anuruddhaya Namah Sankarshanaya Cha. So Dhimahi is meditation. The purpose of life is to develop that meditation on the Lord. So according to Pancharatra, Narayana is the primeval cause of all expansions of Godhead. These are Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna and Anuruddha. Vasudeva and Sankarsana are on the middle, left and right. Pradyumna is on the right of Sankarsana, Anuruddha is on the left of Vasudeva. And thus the four deities are situated. They are known as the 4-8D camp of Lord Sri Krishna. 8D camp. This is a Vedic hymn or mantra beginning with Omkar Pranava, and thus the mantra is established by the transcendental chanting process, namely Om Namo Dhimahi, etc. The purport is that any transaction, either in the field of fruit work or in empiric philosophy, which is not ultimately aimed at transcendental realization of the Supreme Lord, is considered to be useless. Narji has therefore explained the nature of unalloyed devotional service by his personal experience in the development of intimacy between the Lord and the living entities by a gradual process of progressive devotional activity. Such a progressive march of transcendental devotion for the Lord culminates in attainment of loving service of the Lord, which is called prema in different transcendental variegatedness called rasa states. Such devotional service is also executed in mixed forms, namely mixed fruitive work or empirical philosophical speculation. Now the question which was raised by the great Rishi headed by Shaunaka regarding the confidential part of Suta's achievement through the spiritual masters is explained herein by chanting of this hymn consisting of 33 letters. And this mantra is addressed to the four deities of the Lord with his plenary expansions. The central figure is Lord Sri Krishna because the plenary portions of his aids decamp. The most confidential part of the instructions in that is that one should always chant and remember the glories of Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with his different plenary portions expanded as Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anuruddha, whose expansions are original deities from all other truths, namely either Vishnu Tattva or Shakti Tattvas. So I will not give much, but this we can understand this. So we have just 2-3 shlokas. Thus he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representing the personality of God and Vishnu, who has no material form. For us, access to the Supreme Lord is sound vibration. That's how we can access. Now we are hearing Bhagavatam. This is our access to the Lord. When we chant the holy name, that is the access. They are the very fast way to access the Lord. Like Prabhupada gives example, a person is sleeping. For him to wake up is somebody shouts, Mr. John, house is on fire, wake up. So he wakes up because that is a sense that is active. All other senses are dull. For us also, the Shravanam is very important. That's why Guru also gives mantra in the ear. He says chant the mantra and hear the Shastras. That is how we can awaken ourselves. And without reading Shastra, we'll remain either fanatics or sentimental. That's what happens. Even people come to spirituality, initially they'll remain fanatic. Yes, yes, this rule should be followed. It is not just rules. What is the main point is to get awakened, to come to the level of buddhi, to come to the level of Vijnanamaya stage. Vijnanamaya stage is where we will practice without, then that is a Madhyamadikari stage. There is no, they are not fanatics, they are not even not fanatics also, not sentimental. They do with proper understanding what they are doing. Otherwise, initially, of course, it all happens. For me also it happened. Like we want to force, and I come to bhakti, yes, I am the, we are doing the best and all are foolish. And I had to enlighten them, especially our family members. We had to see that everybody is, we have to prove first they are doing wrong, and we have to make them devotees. So that is because of fanatism. And there is a, there is also sentimental uh, things which are there in bhakti. When we read Shastra, we have to make an endeavor to understand Shastra. So Prabhupada purports are very, very important in this. It will help us to come out of this tendencies slowly, and we'll be situated proper. Then we'll not criticize anyone. The criticism will not come. These are wrong, these people are doing wrong, other religions. There is no criticism. Criticizing means he is not reading Shastra properly. If you read Shastra properly, then we will not. We will, like Prabhupada, he is also telling, criticizing Mayavadis or and all. That is, if personally you will not be hate, you are not hating them. You want to protect others. That's why you are telling the difference. It is not out of hate. It is to help out of compassion to protection. There is a difference. So here, our present senses are all made of material elements, therefore, they are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of the Lord. He is therefore worshipped by sound representation via the transcendental method of chanting. So, our other senses all material, but this is a transcendental sound vibration which can directly access to the Lord. Anything which is beyond the scope of experience by our imperfect senses can be realized fully by sound representation. A person transmitting sound from a far distance place can be factually experienced. If this is materially possible, why not spiritually? This experience is not a vague impersonal experience. It is actually an experience of transcendental personality of Godhead who possesses the pure form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. In the Amarakosha Sanskrit dictionary, the word Murti carries import in twofold meanings, namely form and difficulty. Therefore, Amurtikam is explained by Acharya Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as meaning without difficulty. The transcendental form of eternal bliss and knowledge can be experienced by our original sense perception, which can be revived by chanting the holy mantras or transcendental sound represented. Such sound should be received from the transparent agency of the bona fide spiritual master, and the chanting may be practiced by the direction of spiritual master that will gradually lead us nearer to the Lord. This method of worship is recommended in the Pancharatra system, which is both recognized and authorized. The Pancharatrika system has the most authorized course of transcendental devotional service. Without the help of such course, one cannot approach the Lord, certainly not by dry philosophical speculation. Pancharatrika system is both practical and suitable for this age of quarrel. Pancharatra is most important than the Vedanta for this modern age. That means worship of the deity. Now I'll give nice information. Try to understand. What happens is our senses are having certain conditionings. So when I take information, my senses filter them. First is they are imperfect, and second thing is they also filter. That's why the knowledge which we get through the senses will not always remain perfect. Main reason is they have imperfect information. Like now I am seeing, I cannot see little far, I cannot see very near also. We know all our senses are imperfect. So the information that I get, all the sounds or anything, they're imperfectly coming. Then I have one more problem. This is a major problem. Major problem with our mind. Mind because of our attachments and mind because uh, of our desires. It also have a screening. And another screening is likes and dislikes. Raga and dvesha is there. And now because of this raga and dvesha, my mind also filters the information. It will not take everything proper. If I see some person is a friend, some person is a enemy, so mind is already filtering whether that person is friend or not. Mind is already, who is, it is not giving a about exact information of the person. It will already have some perceptions. And if I say fruit, oh, this I like fruit, this I, so we are always in that state, like dislike, raga, dvesha. That's why the information which we get, whether, okay, what about if I say, oh, Pakistan, immediately mind says, yeah, they are all foolish fellow, dirty fellow, what. It already have that conception. The word itself, as soon as we hear, all Indians will have a problem with that. Why? This is what is our mind state. Now now what is soul doing? Soul is just only seeing on the screen of mind whatever information is given. It is not getting the access for the real knowledge. All knowledge is filtered first through senses and through our mind. Then where is real knowledge? We are seeing a movie on the screen of our mind. And this is the movie our mind shows. Mind shows today is a pleasant day, sun is there, very nice. And yeah, that's all. That's the information we have. What exactly? It's all based on our uh, uh, screens, our attachments. If mother goes to the school and so many children are coming out, everything is going neutral, but her particular child comes, immediately emotion comes. I like this child. Now this is how our mind is. That means we never get proper knowledge. Real knowledge cannot be. Now I read some book, then I screen myself with all my attachment desires, then only that much only I enter. That is the reason we need transcendental sound vibration. We need the chanting of the holy name. And this transcendental sound vibration of Bhagavatam also, slowly we will be able to access to the real knowledge. This is only real knowledge. Otherwise, we are always in raga dvesh. I like, I don't like platform. And I like, I don't like platform. We cannot get what is real knowledge. We only get all this filtered knowledge with senses and mind. No access. Access is when Guru shows some mercy. That is the only access we have for the real knowledge. So here, that's what this Prabhupada is also trying to explain, that the transcendental sound vibration, which can be revived by chanting the holy name. So the transcendental form of eternal bliss and knowledge can be experienced by our original spiritual senses. Now these material senses, they don't give any knowledge. They give all false knowledge. Imam swanirgunam brahman aveshyamadanu anustitam adiname jnanamaishwaryam sasmin bhavam cha keshavaha. O Brahmana, thus by the Supreme Lord's Krishna, I was endowed first with transcendental knowledge of the Lord as inculcated in the confidential parts of the Vedas, then with the spiritual opulences, and then with his intimate loving service. So this is a gradual progression. Communication with Lord by transmission of transcendental sound is not different from the whole spirit Lord Sri Krishna. It is a complete, perfect method for approaching the Lord. By such pure contact with the Lord without offenses of material conception, numbering 10, the devotee can rise above the material plane to understand the inner meaning of the Vedic literatures, including the Lord's existence and transcendental. The Lord reveals his identity gradually as one who has unflinching faith both in the spiritual master in the Lord. After this, the devotee is endowed with the mystic opulence, which are 8 in number. And above all, the Lord is accepted in the confidential entourage of the Lord and is entrusted with specific service of the Lord through the agency of spiritual master. A pure devotee is more interested in serving the Lord than in showing an exhibition of mystic powers dormant in him. Sri Narada has explained all this from his personal experience, and one can obtain all the facilities which Narada Muni obtained by perfecting the chanting process of the sound representation of the Lord. There is no bar for chanting this transcendental sound by anyone, provided it is received from Narada's representative coming down by the chain of disciplic successions or the parampara system. So, first is without offenses one performs, then he can acquire mystic siddhis. Prabhupada, I was telling once in Kumbh Mela, one yogi, he heard about Prabhupada, this is doing and so much in foreign and all. He came to the camp of where ISKCON camp. Prabhupada was there. And outside one devotee was standing. He said, no, Swamiji, I will take an appointment, then only you can go inside. So that yogi came. He just looked at the devotee. The devotee got stunned. He could not move himself. He was just standing like that. The yogi was having so much power. He made him stunned. And then he entered inside. Inside Prabhupada's room was there. And outside also one more devotee was standing. And he looked at him. He got also stunned. He could not even move. And directly went into Prabhupada's room. And after some time, this yogi comes out. And then he makes this devotees normal. And he said, "Hey, your Guruji, I have never seen such a person with so much powers. He had so much powers and I have never seen such a." So this mystic yogi went to Prabhupada and understood what is Prabhupada's power. Prabhupada never showed his any of his mystic powers. But that's what here Prabhupada is writing. A pure devotee is more interested in serving the Lord than showing exhibition of mystic power dormant in him. They have, they will not exhibit, because then people will be attracted to the mystic powers, not to Lord Krishna. Then people come to them to get that mystic powers, and they don't want anybody to get attracted to them. They want everybody to get attracted to Krishna. That is what they feel. If they show this mystic power, they will think, okay, people will be attracted to my mystic powers, not to Krishna. That's why they never do it. And of all the mystic powers, the greatest power is to change the heart of another person, which Prabhupada did it. In that way, he is the most successful person. And Prabhupada had mystic. This is some past tense. Not directly, we can indirectly know that. Other mystic yogis are appreciating Prabhupada. That's why we can understand how much Prabhupada must be having mystic powers. Please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankering of great learned men and at the same time mitigate the miseries of masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. So now Narada Muni is giving his final instruction. Sri Narada, from practical experience, definitely asserts that the prime solutions of all problems of material work is to broadcast very widely the transcendental glories of Supreme Lord. These are four classes of men And there are 4 classes of bad men also. The 4 classes of good men acknowledge the authority of the Almighty God, and therefore such good men, when they are in difficulty, when they are in need of money, when they are advanced in knowledge, and when they are inquisitive to know about more and more about God, intuitively take shelter of Lord. As such, Nardi advises Vyasdev to broadcast the transcendental knowledge of God in terms of the vast Vedic knowledge which he has already attained. As far as the bad men are concerned, there are also 4 in number, those who are simply addicted to modes of progressive fruit work and thus are subjected to the accompanying miseries. Those who are simply addicted to vicious work for sense satisfaction and so suffer the consequences. Those who are materially very much advanced in knowledge but who suffer because they do not have the senses to acknowledge the authority of Almighty Lord, and the class of men who are known as atheists and who therefore purposely hate the very name of God, although they are always in difficulty. So here, Athartat Jigyasi Gyanaja Bhartashrava and Namam Dashkitano Muda Prapadante Naradhama Maya Pradajnanam Asuri Bhavamashrita. So who are 4 types of miscreants. So they first thing they're completely ignorant. They're like animals. They cannot understand anything. And some people they're just they're least so they are naradhamas. Then there is naradhama maya pradajnana asurim bhavamashrita. And some are gross, some are so much into sense gratification. They don't have time for spirituality. They foam proboscis, foam in their mouth, work like donkeys. They're so much into sense gratification. They have little intelligence, but they use in sense gratification. Some people are completely dull. There's no sense of. Other people, they are maya pratajnana. There's so much intelligence, but it is evaporated because they think there is no acknowledge the authority of Almighty God. And some people are outright atheists, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakshpu. They are the 4 categories. So this is the 8 class of people, both good and bad. Srimad Bhagavatam is therefore not meant for any particular class of men or sect. It is for the sincere souls who actually wants his own welfare and peace of mind. So who gets benefited when we read Bhagavatam? Ourselves. So we have successfully completed 5th chapter. We have 5 more minutes. If anybody has any comments on this chapter, we'll take 2-3 verses from each. Question is, if you desire and if everyone agrees, we can have okay. 2 hours class today. I don't know. I'm okay. Yeah, if it is okay, if somebody has, we can take maybe 1.5 hours. We'll take 2 hours will be too heavy. I will take for some more time 6th chapter. Is some nice points I'll try to explain, which will be helpful in all times for us. There are certain principles we all need to remember and understand. Some philosophical points I'll try to share. We'll see. And if I complete more purports fast, then I will get time to share some other important principles which are very important to understand. Directly Prabhupada explains, but to get that we need to analyze. We have to use all our intelligence to understand first the Shastra. That is how we need to engage our intelligence. We have, Krishna gave us, we have to very nicely utilize all our intelligence to understand the Shastra. We should not be lazy. And what happens is, in that way, we will be able to come out of our sentimental zone, and especially uh, when the lamentation can be overcome when we are uh, when we have proper philosophical understanding. Shoka and Moha both will be gone. So we will see some shlokas. Suta uvacha evam nishamya bhagavan devarshirjnana karma cha devarsirjnana karma cha bhuya praprachatam brahman vyasa satyavati suta. Suta said, O Brahmanas, thus hearing all about Sri Narada's birth and activities, Vyasdev, the incarnation of God, and Sanna Satyavati inquired as follows. Vyasdev was further inquisitive to know about the perfection of Naradaji, and therefore he wanted to know about him more and more. In this chapter, Naradaji will describe how he was able to have a brief audience with Lord while he was absorbed in transcendental thought of separation from the Lord, and when it was very painful for him. This is a spiritual pain, not material pain. Here also, material people, when they are separated. Now, what attracts a living entity to another living entity is the energy of that living entity, which is, of course, from the soul. And this one lecture of His Holiness Radhana Swamara is there about, you can all hear this lecture, where he explains how there is the energy that is transmitted by every living entity. A cockroach is attracted to female cockroach, male will be attracted to female, female, and now a female cockroach will not get attracted to a male rat, or a male uh, lizard will not get attracted to some female mosquito. No, it will not happen, because there is certain energy and everybody is programmed to that energy. So female will be attracted to male, male will be attracted to female. Now, this is actually uh, uh, one important understanding. Like for us also in humans, of course, this is side point, but I'll make it. It will be helpful for you to understand, or at least to help others. If you want to live with a person in a long run, what is important is that we need to have same type of mindset. That's why when we are accepting a spiritual master also, we say that the spiritual master should be he should also we should have the same type of rasa, means is in sakya as the madhuri rasa, should also we should also accept some spiritual of that that type of mood. Now in marriages also, this is very important that they see the compatibility of how they can cooperate, because they should have common qualities, uh, compatibility. But what happens in love marriage, you person get attracted to other person because when they see the opposite qualities, the attraction happens because they see opposite, they get attracted. But that will, because to stay in a long run, you cannot stay with a person with opposite qualities. You should have qualities of same nature, and you can stay for a long run. While love marriage have problem is because attraction is because of opposite poles attract. But when you see compatibility in marriage, they try to see what is common and then get married. So initially it may not be so much, but in a long run it is very helpful. Whereas in love marriage, this is a problem. Anyway, this is a side point. I just wanted to give this information. If you want help, you can help others. They are going in the depth. So anyway, so here the point is this programming is already done with living entities. But in humans, this is different. You can change the program. Here also we are get attracted to man, female, and other things. But we have a tuning device, that is mind, which if you set on certain things, it will start getting attracted to it. So if we are getting tuned to spiritual activities more and more, then we get programmed to spiritual activity. That is what is sadhana. Sadhana is, that's why we need to do it regularly. We need to change the tuning of our mind regularly, and then we'll get attracted. That's why deity worship is helpful. Deity, every day you are serving, you are getting tuned to them. Okay, what should I offer to them? What should I make dress to them? The tuning is happening. Bhagavatam, tuning is happening. When we do preaching, tuning is happening. So we are tuning our mind, and we can change our focus from certain objects. So here, that this is a tuning, and Vyasdev got tuned to Nartuni. Now he wanted to know more about it. He's telling, okay, you told me, now I want to know more. So Vyasdev said, what did you, Narada, do after the departure of, I think it's missed one slok. So Vyasa said, what did you do, Narada? No, what did you, Narada, do after the departure of great sages who had instructed you in scientific transcendental knowledge before the beginning of your present birth? Purport. Vyasdev himself was a disciple of Narada, and therefore it was natural to be anxious to hear what Narada did after initiation from the spiritual master. He wanted to follow in Narada's footsteps in order to attain to the same perfect stage of life. This desire to inquire from spiritual master is an essential factor to the progressive path. This process is technically called as Sadharma Pricha. We have to get tuned to our spiritual master. What he is doing, I also want to do it. That is safe for us. That is a method to do it. Otherwise, TV will tune, or internet will tune, or Google will tune a person. Then, and that is a problem. What is happening is, if you are not getting tuned to, if you don't have spiritual heroes, then there are material heroes. Now, what is material hero? Even at the age of 50 or 60, is dancing with some young girls, and is trying to impress, is trying to give entertainment with his way of talk, with his dance, with his expressions and emotions and action. He's trying to give entertainment to people. Now his life is just wasted in giving entertainment to people. Prabhupada says, don't waste your life entertaining people. And now they are so much caught up in entertaining people, they lose the valuable human form of life. They don't know what is their life meant for. They think, maybe I have to give pleasure to more more people, and not as a service also. Then that is just, you are giving entertainment, but you will become a dog next life. So what is the value? You have wasted your life. They're just fulfilling all these material things. Only entertainment, no enlightenment. Yes, their life is no enlightenment. Yes, they are just entertained. This is, now if they become heroes, then what happens to people? They also think, maybe my life is also like that only, either to get entertained nicely, and then they are finished. Then fulfilling desire after desire after desire, life is finished. But if we have spiritual master, and this is also very important. As soon as Arjuna was so much in distress, he was so unhappy, and as soon as Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita second chapter, he was crying. He heard second chapter, little got awakened. Immediately Krishna said, then there is uh, Sthita Prajna. When Arjuna says, yes, I want to become like him. Immediate class. How Sthita Prajna se kaha bhasha samadhistasya Keshava Sthita Dirkama Kim Prabhaseta Kim Asita Vrajat Kim. Just tell me about this Sthita Prajna. I want to be like him. Then first time he became awakened. So he became excited because he was crying before the second chapter. After hearing, he immediately asked some very good question. The point is, we should also feel inspired when we hear Narada. Oh, he did it. Let me also do. So Vyasdev is also inspired. Oh, my Guru did it. Let me also see how he made it. So they are our spiritual heroes in that way. स्वयंभुवो कया वृत्त्या वर्तितं ते परं पयः कथं चेदं putrikshi kale prapte kalevaram. O son of Brahma, how did you pass your life after initiation, and how did you attain this body, having quit your old in due course? We want to know how does he left his body also. This is also very important. See, Narada Muni in his previous life was just an ordinary maid servant son. So how he became so perfectly transformed into the spiritual body of eternal life, bliss and knowledge is certainly important. Sivasdev desired him to disclose the facts for everyone's satisfaction. So this is where they want to know how does he left. That is a very important inspiration for us. Few days back, His Holiness Kadam Kanan Maharaj left his body. It's a very great inspiration. That like one of the one devotee was sharing that he was actually an outside person. He said a doctor actually. He said that there are many other people who left their body in Vrindavan. But he said, Prabhupada Swamiji, when he came to know that he is leaving his body, he was not in anxiety. He accepted it. He tried initially to get cured and all. But once he understood, now time up, he just said, okay. And he was quite peaceful. But he said, I have seen other Swamis in Vrindavan where big simple swamis they'll not have problem. But who has opened a big institute and he has thousands of followers, they will definitely have problems because there will be so much attachment. He said they were in so much anxiety when they are living. And because Prabhupada set that example, all his followers are also able to do it. They know. Okay, Prabhupada said. And the Giraj Maharaj offering, he said, he writes to Colonel Maharaj that you go and tell Prabhupada to tell me to come bring back because I have done whatever he has told me to do. I want to come back. So they are quite peaceful and that's a training they got from Prabhupada. They're fortunate. They are in a fortunate shoot and this is how we should slowly come to a stage where we are not attached, where the greatest attachment to body and our mind, because the desires are so much are there to get fulfilled and it will make us forced to go into another body. If I have desire to get good name and fame, followers and so many other things, that desire will make me take another body. If I am able to work on my desires and give up my desires, there is nothing in this material desires. I am okay hearing Bhagavatam, chanting holy name and serving the Lord, and that is the only desire we have, then we are safe. Any other desire, that's why we should keep always good association, always hear Bhagavatam. Otherwise, if we are associating with some people who are into so much passionately and having material desires, it's very risky. We have to eventually give up these desires and keep ourselves safe. Then he says, oh great sage, time annihilates everything in due course. So how is it that this subject matter, which happened prior to this day of Brahma, is still fresh in your memory, undisturbed by time? This is also very interesting. Array, yesterday's class only, today I cannot remember. You are remembering from previous day of Brahma, that is 1,000 Divya Yugas. One day, 1 year, 2 years classes, hardly some points, especially for myself. I'll not be able to remember much. And now here Vyasdev is asking very interesting question. How are you able to remember so much? As spirit is not annihilated even after the annihilation of material body, so also spiritual consciousness is not annihilated. See, Narada developed this spiritual consciousness even when he had his material body in the previous girl. Consciousness of material body means spiritual consciousness expressed through the medium of material body. This consciousness is inferior, destructible, and perverted. But supreme consciousness of the Superman in the spiritual plane is as good as spirit soul is never annihilated. So there are two types of consciousness, inferior and superior. So inferior consciousness is I am conscious about my body, how much I am, what I am, what is my family, what are my relatives, or all these things. This is my consciousness. This level of consciousness purposefully inferior, destructive, and perverted. This is what is presently my consciousness. All my activities are based on this consciousness only, material consciousness. Dehatma buddhi. I am the body, I am the mind. I should look like this, I should do like this, and this thing should happen to me. And then we have another level of consciousness, which is spiritual, supreme consciousness, which can never be annihilated. So once we get that self-realization, we are already self-realized. We will not go back. So Nardasini, Narada Uvacha भिक्षुभिर्विप्र वष्टे विज्ञानादेष्टिभिर्मना वर्तमानो वयस आध्ये तदेतत् अकारसम्. Nada said, the great sages who have imparted scientific knowledge of transcendence to me departed for other places, and I had to pass my life in this way. In his previous life, when Naradaji was impregnated with spiritual knowledge by the grace of great sages, there was a tangible change in his life. Although he was only a boy of 5 years, that is an important symptom visible after initiation by the bona fide spiritual master. Actual association of devotees brings about a quick change in life for spiritual realization. How it so acted upon the previous life of Sri Narada Muni is described by in this chapter. So the what is the change means change in the heart. So change in the heart means we discuss there should be change in our thought process. There should be change in our emotions, and then the change in the desires. These are the three levels. Thought process is what is very important, and then emotions. We cannot change emotions and desires so fast. First, we have to work with our thoughts. When we start thinking, and how thoughts, when we start hearing, our thoughts will change. Now, we will understand by gaining this knowledge, we see things differently. Then our thoughts will change. Now, I am reading Bhagavatam. Like now, previously we had great appreciation for people in the entertainment industry. Now our thoughts are different about them. We feel that they are wasting their life and time. Not only there, they are wasting others also. What happened? Our thought process changed. Then our feeling for them also changed. Otherwise, we have appreciation for them. Then we start developing attachment to them. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa. But you don't have the thought only, then no entertainment people will attract us, no sports people will attract us. Then our thoughts will be about spiritual personalities, the great stalwarts, Prabhupada disciples. Then we start developing feeling for them. This is one level. Another level with the things that are happening in our family and all. If we are having different way of thinking, now you understand that everybody is working based on their karma vasanas. They are programmed to behave in a particular way. Then you will not become envious of them. You say, yes, he's programmed like that. What can he do? He will continue like that. Will not become envious, will not become upset and angry or anything. You say, okay, we'll try to tolerate. That means we changing our emotions also about the person. This is little more difficult. But at least let us understand that people are helplessly acting the way they are. That is the point. Of course, if somebody is under us, if we have responsibility to correct them, we'll try. Otherwise, all other people, we don't have any we don't have anything to do with them. We cannot do also much. That is the point. We cannot unnecessarily spoil our mind because of somebody else. And then desires are most difficult. Maybe some other time we'll discuss more on it. Just a point when this is the right one. एतात्मजा मे जननी योष्णी मूढा च किङ्करी मय्यात्मजे अन्यगतौ चक्रे स्नेहानुबन्धनम्. This is verse. So I was the only son of my mother, who was not only a simple woman but a maid servant as well. Since I was her only offspring, she had no other alternative for protection. She bound me with tie of affection. So what happens is our shelters are like this in this world, and we we want to we become attached to our shelter. We start taking shelter. Mind need shelter, but don't know where to take shelter. Instead of Krishna's lotus feet, we take shelter in so many things, and that creates a great problem for us. Only where completely we can feel sheltered and protected is Krishna's lotus feet. And but Bajahure mana Srinandanandana Abhaya Charanaravindare. So that is which gives Abhaya. But we are taking, we become attached and take shelter. And and uh, why this form of women psychophysically they are actually in that way. The psychophysical mentality is made in that way that for them it is natural. We stay around, some families are there. I see they're all small kids, and it's so difficult to take care of a kid. And I hear how mothers are handling the kids. It's actually quite. I feel, my God, what a tolerance level. I develop appreciation for my mother. How she took care of three children and all small. Really, it requires great patience for me. You will run away in 2 days. It's so difficult. So Lord made like that. Without attachment, you cannot take care of children. That is another. That's the point I want to tell. If you are not attached, it is not possible. And that's why Lord has to create only such system. So she created men, women, men little rational, women rational, emotional together. They are together actually. They can think also, and man is either rational or emotional. He cannot be in between. Women both rational and emotional together, so that they can think also and be emotional also. That's why they were able to handle the children nicely, and they can understand the feeling of the child also, and simultaneously they know how to act. That is possible or when it is not possible. Either yes or no. Is rational or emotional. If he is emotional, he cannot act. If he is rational, like say any death happens at home, men are immediately rational. They know what to do. Do this, call here, do this. This is men can do. Women cannot do. Man is very rational. He will not be emotional. Otherwise, sometimes he's completely emotional. Emotional in the sense he gets addicted to drugs, alcohol, and all these things. Completely in emotional state. Although the statutory warning is written and all these things are written, he cannot understand only. He's in an emotional state. He's losing his money, he's losing relationship, he's losing everything. But he's so much in an emotional state with the drugs or alcohol or cigarette. He just goes till he dies. Or he's completely rational. He cannot be in between. That's the reason women cannot get, even don't get addicted, because they can immediately rationalize. They say, no, this is addiction. So men are more addicts than women because they don't have, so the system is not there. Women, they can have both parallelly working to handle children. So here, this is Narada Muni's mother. She is attached to him. This is Without attachment, you cannot take. That I understood. When you stay around and you see mothers taking care of children, this is a realization. She wanted to look after my maintenance properly, but because she was not independent, she was not able to do anything for me. The world is under the full control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, everyone is like a wooden doll in the hands of a puppet master. This is, of course, theoretical knowledge, but at least this is the. When I was mere 5 years, a child of 5 years, I lived in a Brahmana school. I was dependent on my mother's affection and had no experience of different lands. So this is Narada Muni's stage. Ekada nigratam ge दुहतीं निशिघां पति सर्पो अदष्ट पादस्पृष्ट कृपणा कालचोदिता. Once upon a time, my poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten by on the leg by a serpent, influenced by supreme time. This is the way Prabhupada writes. Very nice. Only one line per but very nice. This is the way of dragging a sincere soul near to God. The poor boy was being looked after only by his affectionate mother, and yet the mother was taken from the world by the supreme will in order to put him completely at the mercy of the Lord. This is what happened. Lord is showing special mercy to Narada Muni. Sometimes it is difficult to digest the mercy of Lord for everyone. But I have recently one experience of one devotee went through very bad situation, and now he is out of the situation. And yesterday the call came. I said, "Yes, Krishna is showing you what you should do now." And the devotee accepted. Yes, I was a little spaced out, not practicing for quite few years. Suddenly, now he came to senses, and because went through a very tough situation, immediately realized, yes, I need to practice now bhakti. This is Krishna's arrangement. Sometimes he's very merciful on to devotees. He gives really extra test to help. Uh, Before the test, we only be sincere. Otherwise, we have to learn in a very heavy way. So better be sincere and every day attend sincerely classes. Try to understand what Krishna is telling, so that he will not give very heavy test. Now, how did Narada Muni take? So this is what is a very important lesson for us. I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benedictions for his devotees. And so thinking, I started for the north. So what is the change of heart I told? Change in emotions. Because he was thinking that this is mercy of Lord, you can see his emotions. His emotions are, yes, my dear Lord, thank you very much. He accepted it. If our thought process is not like that, then people say, "What is this? So cruel." No? And I have this experience also. One person was very religious, not spiritual. Now, 2, 3 cases when I meet, he says now he don't want to go to temple. He don't want to take the name of Lord. He said, because of him, I lost my beloved ones. So they lost their daughter. So he said, no more Lord. Because why? The emotions went negative. Because the thought process is wrong. But if you know it's all Lord who gave me, Lord is taking, you have different thoughts, then your emotions are also different. This is a change in heart. So confidential devotees of Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. This is what they are thinking. This is a thought process. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it; they cannot understand. That's it. Okay. After my departure, After my departure, I passed through many flourishing metropolitan towns, villages, animal farms, mines, agricultural lands, valleys, flower gardens, nursery gardens, and natural forests. Okay, so we will continue it tomorrow. I will. I wanted to share few more things in this purpose. I don't want to rush. There's some nice points are there. We'll discuss in tomorrow's class. Anybody has any questions for now? Okay. Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There's some nice points I'll share. I don't want to rush in this chapter. Sorry.